should Catholics go on mission trips? That's a leading question, but we're starting there. And more importantly, I guess, because the answer to the first question is yes, so forget it. We're not going to do that. Tangent 3.0. Not Tangent, Tawny Tangent 3.0. What is the craziest experience you've ever had while on a mission trip?
Should Catholics go on mission trips? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They can be so helpful. When I was in college seminary, we went to Mexico. I was in Mexico for a study program to study Spanish, and we did a mission into the mountains. I still to this day have no idea where we went. I just got on the bus. This was like, I don't know where I'm going, but I was told that we're going and we're going to do this, so let's go. So we got on the bus and we end up in this village, and the whole experience for I think we were 5 days in the mountains, so it was a very short thing. I felt like we didn't do any mission work. It was more like we were just there and we got to know people. We talked to them and had some sense of what they're facing. So there was a priest who was with us, and he said mass, and it was the first time I think in a month that this village had a mass, and that was very beautiful in and of itself, that we were able to have mass there. And the people were very welcoming. They gave us a place to stay, and we were just super kind, wonderful people. And so we had this day where we took a bunch of the kids came to the church, and we prayed the rosary with them. And then the kids were playing, and so we're kicking a soccer ball around or something. And I sat down, and these kids came over, and they sat with me, and they were talking to me, and they were all talking. And I didn't know enough Spanish to really have coherent conversations with them, but I was trying really hard, and I was holding my own. It was okay. And this little girl kind of climbed up on the bench next to me, and she stood there, and I had been staying in a home that didn't have mosquito netting. And so I was just covered in mosquito bites, and she came up and she starts counting mosquito bites on my face, and she's poking each one, and she's counting out loud, and however many she's counting. Then like there's another kid who's counting the mosquito bites on my arm, and they're counting. They're going, wow, you have a lot of mosquito bites. And then one of them goes, that's not a mosquito bite, and she goes and she pops a pimple that I had on my face. That was my craziest mission trip experience, was having a 5-year-old Mexican kid pop a pimple on my face.
Yeah, okay. That is not where I thought this story was going.
Now, the follow-up to that is that a couple days later, we went to another village, and the bishop of the diocese was coming to visit that village. And so they had a big outdoor mass outside the church because the number of other villages came to see the bishop. So all these people had come in, and there was one priest who served multiple little tiny villages, and he was very proud that he had all these people coming in, that the bishop had come to visit. It was a big deal. And they were honoring all these people before mass began, and the bishop is shaking hands like crazy. I don't know how he had the energy to do it, because they just had, it seemed like 100 people lined up, and this old man is honored for his service to the church. And this guy, he's like starts kind of hobbling over, and his job was to ring the bell outside the church. And they had this big rope that hung down from the bell tower, and he would ring the bell to call people to mass. And he had been doing that for 60 years. Wow. And he was like 95, and he came over and he was crying to meet the bishop. I thought how beautiful this man's faith and his desire to meet the bishop, and what that meant for him, that he had met a successor of the apostles. And it was the first time in his entire life, 60 years of ringing the church bell, that he'd ever met a bishop. Right. Just how beautiful was that? Then during the mass, I remember looking across the plaza, and on the other side of the plaza, there's like this little dry riverbed and then a hillside. And on the hill, I see these like 5 kids, and they're over there, and they're kind of running around, and they're looking. They've got binoculars and everything. And at the consecration, as the guy rings the bell, so that the little old man was ringing the bell of the church for the consecration. They also had a wheel of bells that they were just cranking and ringing all these bells at the moment of the consecration.
That's beautiful in and of itself.
And then at the consecration, those bells start ringing, and all of a sudden, fireworks from these little kids on the other side of the hill start going off. Whoa. They shot off fireworks because Jesus was there. Wow. It was the coolest thing. That was so cool. Yeah. Okay. So that was my good mission trip experience.
Yeah. Thanks for watching today's video. Let us know what you thought down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.